Broadcasting from coast to coast. It's the Financial Safari with your host, Coach Pete D'Arruda. You'll hear from some of the nation's top financial professionals. So stick around and find out how to make it through the jungle of the financial world, right here on the Financial Safari.
Hello, and thank you for watching Financial Safari TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I am joined today by Coach Pete, the People's Choice. Coach Pete, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing great too. Thank you so much.
Nice.
It's always a pleasure to be with you. There's so much energy that you bring to the show and to the viewing audience at home. I know they enjoy tuning in and watching. Not sure what we're going to talk about each week, which they love. They love having that surprise.
Well, we do a radio show every week too. So we do the Financial Safari radio show. We do America's 401k show. And we do Rock on Retirement. So I'm on top of the financial world every single day, it seems like, because we have to come up with ideas to get across the financial objectives to the viewers and listeners. Every single week we have to come up with new creative ideas to make financial planning fun.
Absolutely.
and it's not, there's nothing fun about sitting down and a lot of times and having someone tell you can't spend money. So we try to design a perfect plan that'll show you why you're not spending today so you can have a lot more to spend tomorrow.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, I should say, to me to know that a lot of people, when they get that statement in the mail, they feel like that is a true plan, but that's not a plan. It's totally different to get a statement in the mail versus a true written comprehensive retirement
Statements
plan.
are half the battle. At least you have some money put aside, right? But then looking at that lump sum, and we've talked about this on previous shows, lump sums mean nothing if you don't know what kind of income you can get for a lifetime from that lump sum without ever running out of money. So like I said, we could always spend a lot of money in our plan for like 10 years, but we could run out in 10 years. So we need to make sure we have a true plan, not just a lump sum plan. We call those lump sum time bombs because that lump sum, a lot of times you're going to owe a lot of taxation on that because if it's on 401ks or IRAs, you haven't paid tax on that money yet. So we look at these big balances, but we have to know that about 20 or 30% of that money is not ours, it's the government's. Think about that. So and again, that's the way it is. So we play the rules by the game here, the rules of the game, and so we need to map out a strategy that goes along with the rules. We don't want to break any rules, especially when we're talking about the government.
Sure.
You know, there's no taking the ball and going home. The government will take everything and from your home if you do the wrong thing. So we need to make sure not to do tax evasive strategy. A lot of people try to get away with paying taxes. And you heard about this a few years ago. People were setting up offshore bank accounts.
Sure.
The government got wise to that. And not only did you not get that tax savings you thought, you lost a lot of your money because the government had penalties and fees. Too. And you can end up in jail too. So proper planning, Cynthia, very important. Not as complex as everyone thinks it is, but it's a lot more complex than not doing anything, okay?
Absolutely.
And you can create a lot of problems by not doing something instead of saying, I'm just going to put the problems off and they'll go away. They don't go away in the financial world. They get worse.
Let me ask you, Coach Pete, what are some types of retirement income concerns that people call in or come into the office with?
The main concern I hear is, Coach, our planner has never told us about how we're going to be able to take the 401k balance and have a true retirement plan from it. So how do we take these lump sum plans and all this money we have scattered everywhere, how do we make a true retirement plan that gives us lifetime income? And so, Cynthia, we see it every single day. So to us, it's not what's a concern, but it's not a worry because we know how to do that. But most of you watching in the general public have really probably never thought about what does that lump sum going to do as far as lifetime income. So again, income planning, we talk about it a lot. But when you think about it, retirement comes down to this. It comes down to spending and income. Spending, we need money to spend, but we can't do the things we want to do if we don't have the income. So you have to have income, you have to have a retirement income plan, and that's why I always say you need to deal with a retirement income certified professional like me, because we specialize in not only getting you to retirement, but getting you all the way through retirement as comfortably as possible without the worry and the hindrance of losing money or running out of money.
Sure. And Coach Pete, how important is it for someone to have a second opinion? If they already have a plan in place that they feel is working for them, how important is it to have it looked at and reevaluated? Vitally
important. And so a second opinion, folks, is not going back to the person who sold you the plan and getting their opinion on if it's okay or not. We see that. That's just getting a new first opinion from the person who gave you the first opinion to begin with. A second opinion at least put a second set of eyeballs on there. And Cynthia, in my opinion, is it doesn't really help you at all to get a second opinion from someone who's not certified in the opinion you're searching for. So our second opinions are from certified planners, some retirement income certified professionals about how to get you to retirement and through retirement and what kind of income you can get from the money you already have put aside. And that's very enlightening to a lot of folks because Many of you watching may be able to retire sooner, not later, if you put the monies in the right place, not just have it all in the stock market, or not just have it all under the pillow or in a CD at the bank. Those are all bad places for retirement, by the way. If you're going to need lifetime income, we can't have our lifetime income needs tied to an investment that could go up, down, or away.
That's true. That's
right?
true.
It
Good
has to
point.
be in a place that is guaranteed to be there. And we call it the financial fill-up. Every single year, a check arrives in your mailbox, regardless of what happens in the market, for the rest of your life, for the rest of your spouse's life. And when you pass away, whatever's left goes on to your next of kin. So this isn't the money disappearing plan. This is a lifetime income plan that rewards you and your spouse and also your next of kin if you pass away too soon. If you have a balance, it needs to go on to a family member. Or churches
Very
or
good.
charity. It depends on what people are. But Cynthia, the main problem I see is people just are confused.
Yeah.
They're not getting the right answers. They're told they're fine when they're not. And so if you're not really sure or haven't had a true fiduciary second opinion, now's your chance. Let's do it to the next 20. We'll do it for the next 20 people who call right now.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. And before we do that, Coach Peach, I wanted to ask you a little bit about chasing windmills in the financial world before we open up the phone lines, if you have a moment to explain.
I took summer school class at Carolina one year. I was just trying to get some courses out of the way. Plus, I wanted to stay on campus. I didn't want to go home and have to work for my dad, so I stayed
Right.
in school. And I took Portuguese 43, and that class was all about Don Quixote, who was a
Okay.
famous Portuguese guy, right? So he was chasing windmills around. He thought the windmills were dragons. So I don't know what they were on back then. I don't know if marijuana was legal back then and where he was. But they were chasing around they were chasing around the windmills and they thought they were dragons. And so in retirement, a lot of us are chasing around an imaginary thing that really isn't there. If we're in the market, our imaginary reward is that we're going to be fine in retirement if we have a big enough lump sum. Of course, anybody with a lump sum, if they don't have a lifetime income account translated, you look at the lump sum and you translate what kind of income you can get from that lump sum every single year for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You are chasing windmills too, because falling for the Wall Street lies and showing you how to let's try to beat the return of my neighbor and let's try to get the big return. Returns mean nothing if you don't know what kind of income you can get from the lump sums you have.
Sure.
So income planning, vitally important. It's a way to stop chasing windmills. Don't be like Don Quixote. Have a real retirement where you're not worried and not made a fool of. So we need to have that lifetime income plans, and I call them the financial fill-up strategy.
Thank you so much, Coach Pete. So we are actually going to open up the phone lines for the very first time. Can you tell the viewing audience what they can expect to receive by calling in today?
Well, we will take all the mystery out of the financial and retirement planning process by putting together a total retirement plan and a one-page review based on where you are right now. We look at what you want to do in retirement, and then we design a plan that does what you want to do. And if you're not in the right place, we'll show you how to get in the right place. And if you are in the right place, we'll give you that big check mark and seal of approval saying, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But Cynthia, the best time to find out that everything's fine is today. The best time to find out that everything is not fine is today.
Perfect.
Because we can make changes, and we're not going to yell at you. We're going to tell you to go the right direction. We're going to show you how to get there. And we're going to design a plan that's customized for you and your family. And we'll make this for the next 20 people today.
Perfect.
And I've got a bunch of box sets there on the 401k. They have DVDs, nice, DVDs, that round thing you put in the player, right? Workbooks, guidebooks, and worksheets on how to manage your 401k properly, and more importantly, how to get a lifetime income from your 401k that your 401k is not telling you about. And then we're going to put together that total retirement plan that'll take all the worry out of living in retirement. And folks, it really makes a lot of sense. And I'll also have three of the books I've written, one of them being the 7 baby steps to a ridiculously reliable retirement income. Write about income, I mean income. Income is very important to everybody watching. So let's open that phone lines up and let's give that chance for the next 20 people to take all the worry out of planning for retirement.
That sounds great, Coach Pete. To the viewing audience at home, that number to call once again is 888-910-8265. Coach Pete has opened this up to the next 20 callers. We do have to take a very short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to have more questions and answers about planning your perfect retirement. Please stay tuned.
Education is paramount when it comes down to financial planning, especially if you're in the financial red zone. Folks, I'm consumer advocate Thomas Lipscomb here with Coach Pete D'Arruda, best-selling author and the founder of this TV show that you're watching right now, The Financial Safari, as well as a nationally syndicated broadcast radio show that's heard by millions every year. Coach, this is a great box set that we've put together. I appreciate you doing it.
Well, Thomas, the reason why we put together our shows is to educate folks just like you out there, and I've taken some time now, and you've helped me with these, put together these tremendous box sets with workbooks, guidebooks, DVDs, and worksheets in there, all designed to help you get onto the path that you really need to be on in an educational setting, Thomas, in your own house. So all you have to do is call the number you're going to see on the screen, and you can get your very own workbook, guidebook, and set, DVD set, as well as your no-cost consultation.
And welcome back to Safari TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Coach Pete, the People's Choice, and a great first segment that we just went through together, Coach Pete. And I want to ask you a couple questions. I've heard you talk in the past about how financial planning can be like going through an obstacle course, if you will. Can you
really
explain to the viewing audience what that is?
Well, there's so many obstacles, there's so many things you don't plan for, there's so many things you don't see, and things you don't know about, or maybe weren't told about in that planning process. But, you know, Cynthia, the fun thing is when we get that total plan put together, there's 5 key steps to put that plan together. By the way, we talked about that on the commercial this air there, that box set, the 5 keys.
Sure.
We'll give that away too when people call here at the end of this segment when we open the phone lines up. But it's just about identifying the obstacles and then eliminating them, okay? Or taking advantage of some of them. Maybe some of the obstacles can be turned to positives. So what I like to do is try to turn negatives to positives, and the most positive thing anyone can do is get a true income plan, where they know exactly what their income's going to be all the way through retirement. How many of you watching right now really know what your lifetime income's going to be? And do you know if it's going to be guaranteed or not? We can do that. We guarantee the plans, and we can design to the penny the minimum amount you'll get per month for the rest of your life. Now, Cynthia, the bad news is we give you the worst case scenario. So I may have to come to you in the future and say, well, I've got some bad news for you. The plan that we designed telling you you're going to get, let's say, $5,000 a month through retirement every single month. Well, it's going to be $6,000 now. Is that okay?
Right.
It's never going to be $4,000. Yeah. It's always going to be at least that 5, if not more. And that's important because we want a plan, and you can really build a plan if you know the worst case scenario. Yeah. I'm not a negative person, I'm positive, but I like to look at the worst case scenario because then we can build on top of that, not under it. So that's very important to have that firm plan that there's no guessing, no gimmicks, and you know exactly what your money's going to be to the minimum, to the penny, to the minimum amount. And that really is peace of mind planning when you think about it.
And it really, truly is, Coach Pete. Let me ask you a question as well. How important is it for good communication between a client and their financial advisor?
I think that's vital.
Yeah.
When you go to the doctor, if you went to the doctor and they sat there with their little clipboard and they were check boxes and they were saying him and haw, and then it prescribed something, didn't tell you what was going on, would you take it?
Right, exactly.
I don't know if I would or not. I'd say, well, doc, tell me why am I taking all these drugs you gave me? So when we go to a planner, you know, it's great for a planner to put together a plan, but you want to know why. Yeah. Why are you doing this for me? You know, what is the benefit? How is my family going to benefit for what you've done for me? And so if we can answer those questions, and we should be able to answer them, and you should be able to answer them too, why you're doing what you're doing, well, then it's a good plan. Here's why I'm doing what Coach Pete said. I'm going to give myself and my family a lifetime income. We're never going to worry about that income. It doesn't matter what happens in the market. We're going to get that income. Our money's not going to shrink due to the market in that part of the money that we have that's designed to be there for the rest of our life. Now, we know that we can take extra money, leftover money, and put into the market, and we do a total managed plan there, which can take maximum risk if you want, if you already have your safe plan over here. It's called the Core and Explore, Cynthia. Core money right here is for our retirement. The Explore money can build, but can also shrink. So we have to know that that money can always be at risk, but it could also gain more than we could get in the safe plan. Okay. But the safe plan's never going to lose, and it's always going to ratchet up every single year, and you know what your income's going to be from the safe plan. So it's a proper combination of risk and safety. I really do feel like a chef sometimes in the kitchen because if you put too much of one thing in, it's not going to taste good. So, and everyone's different. Everyone has different palates. So we see what's going to be best for you and your family. We design a plan that is best for you and your family. There's no gimmicks, there's no games. As a fiduciary planning firm, we do what we say, and we make you happy because you are the most important person. Our clients are our most important people. Not making us happy or my staff, making you happy, very important. That's why we have that golden ticket that gives people a no-cost financial review, and it's a total financial plan, has 22 steps in a total retirement plan that we do behind the scenes for everybody.
I love that, Coach Pete. To the viewing audience at home that might be sitting around having a cup of coffee together today, husband and wife, let's say, how important is it for a couple to come into your office together for that consultation? Because these are things that definitely should be talked about as a couple, correct?
Every now and then someone will come in and say, well, my wife or my husband didn't want to come in, but I'm the one who does the planning for the family. That's fine, but I think it's a team approach. We like to find out what both of you want to do all the way through retirement, not just one of you. So I think it's important for both to come in or come on the phone. We do a lot of virtual appointments these days because some people don't want to come in the office. Our office is 25,000 square feet. We have all sorts of cool stuff in there, so I would recommend you come. We even have a massage chair, Cynthia, so you can sit there before your appointment and get a nice real massage.
Yeah.
And we have all sorts of cool things there, like all sorts of great artwork to look at. But if you can't come in, we understand that, but we want to make sure you communicate together. We want to communicate with both of you to find out what both of your wants, needs, and desires are, and then we can really do a plan based on what you both want.
Okay.
That's important.
Is there a checklist of documents that people should be bringing in for their first visit, Coach Pete?
Yeah. When someone calls the number on the screen, we send them an email telling them, here's what we recommend you bring.
Okay.
And it's always like statements all statements, I'll say you don't understand. Most people don't understand any of the statements. They're like gigantic pages after page after page. You have to look through there really hard to find out what your balance is sometimes.
Exactly.
It should be one page, I think. You know, they don't need all these pages. These pages, the more pages I see, the more I think that they're trying to hide something. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Well, you look at a prospectus from a mutual fund, sometimes it's 500 pages long, and you have to go way deep in there to find out what the bad news is.
Sure.
So again, I think that everything should be disclosed on one sheet. Here's the bad news. So like when you get your credit card statement now, it shows you if you only paid a minimum for a certain number, for a lifetime, whatever it is, here's what it's going to cost you. I think all plans should be like that. So we try to show, well, number one, we don't have any of those dirty tricks anyway. So we show on one sheet the benefits and advantages of what we're telling you to do. And it's up to you to do it, but I think it's good to be educated on what really is out there, not just what your current planner's been selling you. We are totally independent, so we basically see what our clients want, or our listeners or our watchers want, anybody, or viewers, and then we go out and we find what you're looking for out there in the financial world. And it is a jungle out there. That's why we call this a financial safari. So you need a guide to show you where the pitfalls are and where the bad things are, and design that plan to get you all the way through retirement without any of those pitfalls.
Absolutely.
And no quicksand, that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. Is it ever too late to start?
Never too late or too soon.
Okay.
We have people in their 20s, and we have folks in their 70s and 80s starting for the first time.
Perfect.
The ultimate time, though, in my opinion, would be right in the 50s. Right there, 51 to 55, right there would be a great time to start a plan process if you haven't done it already.
Okay.
Because you have a pretty good balance. You've been building into 401k. You see that lump sum a lot of times. And then you start thinking, gosh, that lump sum that's what I'm going to have to live on. And so you could have a great 2 or 3 years in retirement by living off the lump sum, but when it's gone, it's gone. And Social Security is not going to cover you. So take some of that lump sum and design a true income plan. We do this every single day. We need at least one stream of income in addition to Social Security. I like to have 3 or 4 different streams of income that you can activate anytime you want through retirement. This way it'll maximize your retirement benefit and take the worry out of living in retirement.
Sure.
I recommend it.
And I've often heard people say that they're going to test drive their retirement. Do you recommend doing that?
Well, test drive is like when you're buying a new car, right?
Yeah.
And I always like to joke about the fact that some guy says, I don't need a test drive, just walks up and kicks the tire of the car. Why do we kick the tire? You've seen people do that, right?
Right.
Well, it's got a good tire.
Didn't fall off.
Yeah, so, yeah, but our plan, here's what you test drive, and I think it is good to test drive. We've had people test drive retirement before too, where they take a 3-week vacation and they promise not to talk to any of their work people, right? So they isolate themselves from work and they test drive retirement. And then we pretend they live on a certain amount of money based on what their current plan is, right? And so what I usually have when people come back after their retirement test drive is they miss their work people, their family.
Yes.
You spend more time with your work family than your regular family a lot of times.
Yeah.
And also they wish they had more money. Okay? So what we do is we take what people have told us in the past about the deficiencies, and we try to build that into every single plan we do, making sure that people have enough income to get you all the way through retirement. Not just getting by, Cynthia. We have 2 things in our mind. We have wants and we have needs.
Sure.
Now, my daughter always says she needs things, but she really wants them. Like she needs a new cell phone. No, you have a cell phone. Well, I need one. No, you don't. You want one. So when we get to retirement, we have wants and needs too. I want my folks when they retire to be able to do not only the needs, that's shelter and food and standard things, but I want them to do the wants. You want to play golf. You want to go to baseball games if we ever play baseball again.
Right, right.
Or you want to go see a football game in every stadium, that kind of thing. So Those are the fun things. Those are the dreams. So wants, needs, and dreams, we need to answer all three of them when we plan for retirement.
Sure.
And so I don't like to get by retirements, because I've seen those people. I've had people in my family like that when I was little. I remember they were barely getting by.
Yeah.
They were at least able to fulfill the needs, but nothing else. That's not going to be an enjoyable retirement when you have to wait or can't ever do what you wanted to do. You're one of those, what we call financial hitchhikers. You're depending on other people to have fun in life.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that you're totally independent. And that's why we're totally independent, and we find the products and strategies that you say you need to put together that proper strategy and proper plan for you all the way through retirement.
Which is so important.
Yep.
And Coach Pete, we're going to open up the phone lines again. Can you tell the viewing audience what they can expect?
Let's do this. Let's do that total retirement
Okay.
plan for the next 10 people. And you have to have at least $200,000 saved for retirement for us to get started. Our strategies do work best for those of you with over $1 million saved for retirement, but as long as you have $200,000, we can get started.
Okay.
And that's the most important part of, you've been on the shows with me a long time, and my radio shows for the last 16 years. The thing we say is get started.
Yeah.
Once you get started, once you get that toe in the water, we can move things, we can change things, but once you get familiar with things, it's a whole lot easier to make a total plan. So get started today. The next 10 people, there's at least $1,000 value. We're going to give you a golden ticket. We're going to give you one of those box sets, at least, maybe 2. I've got the 5 keys to a successful retirement box set, DVDs, workbooks, that kind of thing, guidebooks, and also the 401k survival box set, and 3 of the books I've written. So this is a college course almost here. This is a real serious offer, and this should be taken seriously for anybody who is serious about having that proper retirement plan.
Thank you, Coach Pete. To the viewing audience at home, we do have to take a commercial break, but that number to call once again is 888-910-8265. We know you have more questions about planning your perfect retirement. When we come back, we're going to have some more answers for you, so please stay tuned.
Retirement planning can be stressful, so our process is designed to put you at ease. You'll notice immediately that we are different than other financial advisory firms. During your initial consultation, we'll get to know you and give you the chance to get to know us. We want to learn all about your vision for retirement so that we can design a plan that will help you achieve your long-term financial goals. Our relaxing office environment and friendly staff will make you feel welcome and comfortable the moment you walk in the door.
Coach Pete, Coach Pete, financial advice, the likes of which can't be beat. Coach Pete, Coach Pete, financial advice, the likes of which can't be beat. So it's time, yeah, it's time for Coach Pete.
And welcome back to Financial Safari TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Coach Pete, the People's Choice. Always great to come back from the commercial break. And let's talk a little bit about the commercial that the audience was just watching. It's so cute. How did that come about?
You like that jingle?
I love the jingle. It
gets stuck in your head a little bit?
Yeah,
they call that an earworm when it gets stuck in your head, right? Well, this is a band. I've known these guys for a long time. They're called the Amoebas.
Okay.
It's a children's band almost. They make little rhymes for children and all that.
Yeah.
And they needed some funding for a new album they were doing. So I said, well, I'll give you some funding if you make a jingle for me. So I just basically told them what I did. They made the jingle. I didn't write out the jingle. They came up with that.
I think
so that's
it's
what's pretty.
perfect.
And then my staff turned it into a video where they have a skinny Coach Pete doing thumbs up. But that was just like our radio studio. That really is our radio studio that little cartoon Coach Pete's walking through.
Oh, I think that's just awesome. It is. It's so much fun to watch, and I love the jingle. So hooray to the Amoebas.
It's a funny name, the Amoebas.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yep.
I want to ask you about, we've talked in the past about how some people can be set up to fail in retirement.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Coach Pete?
Well, if you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. Or you fail to plan, you plan to fail, that kind of thing. So a lot of people just have a collection of products. And we see this all the time. And I know life takes control. Every single month, bills are due. So that's the more pressing financial need than sitting down and looking at your lifetime retirement, what's going to happen there.
Sure.
So I see this all the time too. People have, and it happens. Nobody's working, well, not a lot of people aren't working for one company anymore.
Yeah.
Like my grandparents, when people like my grandpa was self-employed carpenter. My grandma worked for the same company at a factory, a mill back in the day, making towels, Fall River, Massachusetts.
Aww.
But she worked there for 38 years, and then they gave her a pension, right? And so, which is good. That means they continue to pay you, and when you're not working, it wasn't as much, but it was something.
Sure.
Well, most companies cut that out completely back in the 90s. And they launched something called the 401k.
Sure.
And the 401k is a way for you to save for your retirement on your own. But if you don't, they're not going to help you. Now, some companies will match. So if you put $1 in, they'll put $1 in. Well, that's pretty cool. That's free money.
Yeah.
Cynthia, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to over the last decade or more who said, Coach, I can't afford to fund my 401k, therefore I can't afford to get the match. And I always say you can't afford not to get that match.
Sure.
If you have a dollar per dollar match, it's 100% return on your money right away.
Yeah.
Not even depending on the stock market. And so then you also get the stock market returns in that 401k. 401ks are great. Great way to build for that retirement. The problem is when you get close to retirement, then you start looking at that lump sum. We talk about that. And how is that lump sum going to give you a lifetime income the rest of your life? Well, it's not, unless you move it into your own personal pension plan. Keep in mind, companies used to give you a pension, then they took it away, they gave you a 401k, and they forgot to tell you that 401k needs to be transferred into a pension plan now where you can have a lifetime income. So the 401k is half the battle, and really good. If you funded a 401k, you have a balance, you're ahead of most everybody else.
Sure.
But let's make sure you complete the race. Take that money, or at least some of it, and roll it into your own personal pension plan that now gives you growth when you don't need the money. It protects the money from downward trends of the market. This cannot go down because of the stock market. And then gives you a lifetime income whenever you decide, a pension.
Okay.
And so personal pension planning, that's why I'm a retirement income certified professional, because the most overlooked aspect of retirement planning is the retirement plan. So we need to make sure we have that income for the rest of our life. I call it like let's say the mailman comes, puts mail in your box like he does every day. Most of them are bills. You have to write checks, which I don't recommend anymore, but this is just an example. You write a check, you go with the mailbox, you put the check in the mailbox in the envelope, with a stamp on it. You put the flag up, the red flag. Mailman comes and takes it and brings it to the bill collectors. Nowadays, I do electric banking, and you don't want to put stuff in the mailbox because people, identity theft can ride through your mailbox and ride through your neighborhood and steal that stuff out of the mailbox. So, but wouldn't it be great if the mailman during retirement now, when he put some bills in there, would also put a big check in there and put a green flag on your mailbox every single month?
Right.
That's your income plan.
Yeah.
And there are ways to do that where every single month you have a bigger check than the bills put in your mailbox, not dependent on the stock market. That is a true lifetime income plan. That's a pension. That's what we do every single day. So if anyone's interested in that, Cynthia, I really think the next 10 people who call before we leave for the week, we're going to open those phone lines up probably. We're going to give them that box set we talked about on the 401k, or the 5 keys to successful retirement. Both of them are really good box sets. We're going to give you a total retirement plan. That's a $1,000 value right there. And then we're going to give you a 3-book set of 3 of the books I've written. This is basically a master course in retirement planning, and you'll even have the professor with you to do it. Okay, I really recommend it.
It's truly invaluable peace of mind that you're providing to the viewing audience at home, because so often we've talked about this in the past, that they're just afraid and not sure where to start. But the perfect thing to do really is to pick up the phone and to start today. It's the best day to start.
We've never had a complaint for a reason. 28 years, no complaints, because we do everything we say, and there's no pressure, and we're not trying to sell you anything. We're going to put a real plan together for you.
Absolutely. And again, to the viewing audience at home, I can't believe we're almost to the end of our show this week. Coach Pete, it was amazing. And I know you have a lot of questions about retiring. Coach Pete is here for you. He has all the answers. The number to call once again is 888-910-8265. Thank you so much for watching us again this week. We can't wait to see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your time this week. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and thank you again for watching. We'll see you soon.